Hey everybody, Cloud Architect Pro from Nimbus Nebula here. Today we're diving into the world of cloud computing with Amazon Web Services, or AWS, and their awesome EC2 instances. Think of an EC2 instance like a virtual computer living in Amazon's data centers. You can rent these bad boys out and use them for pretty much anything, hosting websites, running applications, storing data, you name it. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, and elastic means it's super flexible. You only pay for what you use, and you can easily scale up or down depending on your needs. It's like magic, but with more ones and zeros. So if you're ready to unleash the power of the cloud, buckle up and let's get started. Alright, before we spin up our first EC2 instance, let's make sure we have all the essentials covered. We need to ensure everything is in order to make the process smooth and hassle-free. Don't worry, it's super easy and straightforward. First things first, you'll need an AWS account. This is your gateway to all the powerful tools AWS offers. Head over to aws.amazon.com and sign up. The process is simple and only takes a few minutes. Don't worry about costs right now. They have a free tier, so you can explore and experiment without breaking the bank. Next up, we need a way to connect to our EC2 instance. This is crucial for managing and interacting with your virtual server. That's where PuTTY comes in. PuTTY is a free SSH client that lets you securely access your virtual computer. With PuTTY, you can establish a secure connection to your EC2 instance, ensuring your data remains safe. Download it from the official website and install it on your computer. The installation process is quick and easy. It's a piece of cake. You'll be up and running in no time. Once you have your AWS account set up and PuTTY installed and configured, you're ready to go. Now, we're all set to launch into the exciting world of EC2. Get ready to explore the endless possibilities and power of AWS. Now for the fun part, creating our very own EC2 instance. Log into your AWS account and navigate to the EC2 dashboard. Don't get lost in the sea of services. We're looking for a big orange button that says Launch Instance. Click it. You'll be greeted by a page with a bunch of options. Don't panic, we'll walk through it together. First up, we need to give our instance a name. Let's call it My Web Server for now, but feel free to get creative. Next, we need to choose an Amazon Machine Image, or AMI. Think of an AMI as the operating system for your EC2 instance. You can choose from a ton of pre-configured AMIs, like Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, Windows Server, and even Red Hat Enterprise Linux. For this tutorial, let's stick with Amazon Linux 2, as it's free and easy to use. Scroll down the list, find Amazon Linux 2, and click the Select button. We're one step closer to launching our instance. Now, select an instance type. This determines the hardware specs of our virtual machine, like the CPU, RAM, and storage. AWS offers a wide variety of instance types optimized for different workloads. Since we're just getting started, let's go with the T2.micro instance type. It's part of the free tier and has enough horsepower for basic tasks. Now you'll need to create a key pair. This key pair is essential for securely accessing your instance. A key pair consists of a public key and a private key. The public key is used by AWS to authenticate your access to the instance, while the private key is stored on your computer and should be kept secret. This private key is your access credential, so it's important to handle it with care. To create your key pair, click Create a new key pair. Give your key pair a name, such as My EC2 Key Pair. Next, make sure to change the private key file format to PPK for compatibility with PuTTY. Click Create Key Pair. This will download the private key file in PPK format directly to your computer. Store the private key in a secure and accessible location on your computer. You will need this later to connect to your instance. Consider backing it up in a secure location to avoid any accidental loss. Now that we've made some great progress, let's dive into the network settings for our EC2 instance. This is where we define how our instance communicates with the outside world, VPC and subnets. First, we need to ensure our instance is associated with a VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. A VPC is a secure and isolated environment within AWS where you can launch your resources. Next, we'll specify a subnet. If you don't already have a subnet, you can easily create a new one right here. It's important to check the option for auto-assign public IP to ensure your instance is accessible over the internet. Keep in mind that any resources you provision outside of the free tier allowance may incur additional charges. Always monitor your usage to stay within budget. Next, creating a security group. Security is absolutely crucial in cloud computing, and that's where security groups come into play. Think of a security group as a virtual firewall for your EC2 instance, controlling the incoming and outgoing traffic. To get started, select the Create a New Security Group option. Give your security group a meaningful name, like my web server security group. Now, let's configure the rules to allow secure access. First, we'll add a rule to allow SSH traffic so we can connect to our instance. In the security group settings, expand the rules section, select SSH from the type drop-down menu, and for now, set the source field to anywhere. This setting allows access from any location, which isn't recommended for production environments due to security risks. But for this demo, it will make it easier to connect to the instance from anywhere in the world. Moving on to storage options. The root volume will typically be set to 1 GB, which is often sufficient for many applications. Remember, free tier eligible customers can get up to 30 GB of EBS general purpose, SSD, or magnetic storage at no cost. The default storage settings should be fine for now. We're using a general purpose SSD, GP2 volume, which offers a good balance of performance and cost. Click the next Add Tags button to move on. Launching your instance. This is the moment we've been working towards, and it's an exciting step in your cloud journey. We're almost there. On the Review and Launch page, you'll see a summary of all the settings we've configured. This page is crucial as it provides a comprehensive overview of your instance settings, including instance type, security groups, and storage options. Double-check everything to make sure it looks good. It's always a good practice to review each section carefully to avoid any misconfigurations that could affect your instance's performance or security. Congratulations! You've just launched your first EC2 instance. This is a significant milestone, and you're now ready to start using your instance for your applications and workloads. Now we are going to connect to your instance with PuTTY. In this section, we will walk you through the steps to securely connect to your EC2 instance using PuTTY, a popular SSH client, which we installed earlier in this tutorial. This will allow us to securely access and manage our instance remotely. Remember the key pair we created and downloaded earlier, named My EC2 Key Pair, which is in PPK format. You can use it directly with PuTTY to connect to your instance. If you had downloaded a PEM file instead, you would need to convert it into a PPK file using PuTTYgen. However, since you have the key pair in PPK format, there's no need for conversion. You're all set to connect to your EC2 instance. Next, locate the public DNS or IP address of your EC2 instance in the Instance Details section of the EC2 dashboard. Be sure to copy it accurately to avoid any connection issues. Now open PuTTY on your computer. In the hostname field, paste the public DNS or IP address. This address serves as the unique identifier for your instance on the internet. Next, in PuTTY, navigate to the SSH category in the left-hand menu. This is where we will configure the necessary settings for a secure connection. Then, select the Auth option. Now, when you expand the Auth section, you'll see a field labeled Credentials. Click the Browse button next to it to locate and select your private key file, My EC2 Key Pair. Once you have selected your private key file, click the Open button in PuTTY. This will initiate the connection process to your EC2 instance. During this process, you might encounter a security alert. This is normal and indicates that PuTTY is verifying the server's identity. Simply click Yes to proceed. After the security check, PuTTY will prompt you to enter a username. This username is required to log into your EC2 instance. For Amazon Linux 2, the default username is EC2user. Type this in the username field and press Enter, and that's it. You are now successfully connected to your EC2 instance. From here, you can start exploring the world of cloud computing, manage your instance, and deploy applications. That wraps up today's tutorial. Thanks for joining me, Cloud Architect Pro, on this journey into AWS EC2. If you enjoyed the content or found it helpful, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more advanced cloud computing tips. Feel free to drop any questions in the comments. I'm here to help all you cloud explorers out there. Stay tuned for next week's deep dive into more advanced AWS topics. And remember, as always, keep your head in the clouds.